If you've worked with ARP 4754B, ARP 4761A, DO 178C, or DO 254, you've almost certainly encountered the term Development Assurance Level, or simply DAL. But what exactly does a DAL represent? Why is it one of the first concepts discussed during aircraft development? And why does it influence almost every engineering activity that follows? In this video, we'll answer these questions and explore how development assurance levels shape the development and certification of aerospace systems. Let's begin with the basic idea behind DAL. A development assurance level is a classification used during aerospace development. Its purpose is to determine how much development assurance is required for a particular function, system, or item. The higher the potential impact of a failure on aircraft safety, the greater the rigor expected during development. It's important to understand that a DAL does not describe the quality of a product. Instead, it defines the level of confidence that should be achieved throughout the engineering process. That naturally leads to another question. How many development assurance levels are there? ARP 4754B defines 5 development assurance levels. They range from DAL A to DAL E. DAL A represents the highest level of development assurance. DAL E represents the lowest. As the required DAL increases, engineering activities generally become more rigorous. Additional planning, more extensive verification, greater documentation, and increased independence may all become necessary. The important point is not simply the letter itself. The important point is how it influences development. One of the biggest misconceptions is that a DAL only affects testing. In reality, it influences almost every aspect of development. Planning activities become more comprehensive. Verification becomes more rigorous. Documentation requirements increase. And additional independence may be required for certain engineering activities. In other words, the assigned DAL helps determine how development assurance is achieved throughout the project. This influence extends well beyond a single standard. Development assurance levels appear throughout modern aerospace development. ARP 4754B uses DALs during aircraft and system development. ARP 4761A supports the safety assessment activities that contribute to determining appropriate assurance levels. DO 178C applies software assurance objectives according to the assigned level. DO 254 follows a similar approach for airborne electronic hardware. Although each document focuses on a different engineering discipline, they all use development assurance levels to establish the appropriate level of development rigor. The obvious question now becomes, how is a DAL actually assigned? Development assurance levels are not selected arbitrarily. They result from structured safety assessment activities performed during aircraft and system development. These analyses evaluate the potential consequences of failures and help determine the appropriate level of development assurance. The detailed assignment process involves several important engineering activities and deserves a dedicated video of its own. For now, it is enough to understand that the DAL is the result of a systematic engineering process rather than a management decision or personal judgment. Once assigned, the DAL influences the remainder of the development lifecycle. Development assurance levels help ensure that engineering effort is proportional to safety impact. Higher risk functions receive greater development assurance. Lower risk functions avoid unnecessary engineering effort. This creates a balanced and structured development process. Ultimately, the goal is not simply compliance with aerospace standards. The goal is building confidence that aircraft systems have been developed with an appropriate level of engineering rigor. Before we finish, let's summarize the key ideas. Development assurance levels are a fundamental concept in modern aerospace engineering. They help determine the level of development assurance required for aircraft systems. Rather than measuring product quality, they define the engineering rigor expected throughout the development lifecycle. Development assurance levels influence planning, verification, documentation, and many other engineering activities. Because they are used across ARP 4754B, ARP 4761A, DO 178C, and DO 254, understanding DAL is essential for anyone working in aerospace systems development or certification. If you want to go beyond this introduction, we offer comprehensive online training programs on our website. Our self-paced courses explain the complete aircraft and system development lifecycle, development assurance activities, certification concepts, and practical engineering approaches used in real aerospace projects. In addition to ARP 4754B, we also provide training on ARP 4761A and DO 178C. You can find the link in the video description and in the pinned comment below. If you found this video helpful, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel. We regularly publish educational content covering aerospace systems engineering, functional safety, software certification, and other engineering standards. Thank you very much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.